All right, 8th graders, happy Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about integer subtraction, but I wanted to do a quick refresher. Remember what integers are: whole numbers and their opposites. You should have these notes in your notebook. Now, remember our two rules for integer addition were if our signs are different, we found the difference. So we took the big number minus the little number, and then we kept the sign of the bigger number. So here our signs were different, so we said the big number minus the little number, so 5 minus 4, we got 1, and we used the sign of our bigger number. Or we showed you how to use pluses and minuses, or we also looked at the number line. So if you started at -5, remember when we add, we're moving to the right, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, you still have -1. So that's a quick refresher on addition. We're going to use that still today, but I want you to turn to the next open space in your notebook. We're not skipping any pages. We're keeping it nice and neat and organized, and we're going to put the date again at the top. Today I said we were talking about integer subtraction. And this time we need to remember subtraction means we're moving left. So we just did a refresher on what integers were and how to add them. Now, if we're looking at our number line again, remember all integers are whole numbers and their opposites. And the number value tells us how far away they are from 0. That's kind of their absolute value. Oops, not a -3 there, a -4. All right. Now, if we were subtracting, and I told you 2 minus 5. Well, I would start at the 2, and I told you integer subtraction is moving left. So I would move left this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so our final answer would be, good, -3. Now just like 5 minus 4, you start at the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, gives you a 1. So we're going to look at these a little bit differently because these are a tad easier, right? We're going to look at subtraction as adding the opposite. So we're going to add the opposite. Even though I know you can do these simple problems here, it's important that you're understanding how to add the opposite as we get into larger problems. So we're really going to look at this as adding the opposite. So right now it's subtracting a +5. We are going to add the opposite, which would be a -5. So 2 minus 5 is the same thing as 2 plus a -5. And 5 minus 4, we're going to change this subtraction to addition, and we're going to add the opposite. Do you see that? And that's going to give us our same answer because we're going to follow our steps. Remember, if you turn back, you have rules on what to do if our signs are different. Right here and right here, they're both different, right? We have to find the difference. So we take the big number, 5, minus the 2, and get 3. And our bigger number is negative. Now, if you're having a hard time remembering that rule, remember you can start by drawing out your pluses and minuses. So 5 pluses and 1, 2, 3, 4 minuses. So this matches up with this matches up with this matches up with this matches up with this, and you're left with a +1. Okay, remember our signs are different, so we find the difference. We have 5 minus 4 is 1, and our bigger number is positive, so it stays positive 1. Do you see how that happens? All right, so now that you know the rules, we just have to change our subtraction problem into an addition problem, and then you can do it. So I'm going to write quite a few here. How about negative? Okay. Let's do the first couple together, and then I'm kind of going to let you off on your own. Now, if we add the opposite, remember we're changing it to addition of the negative. We're adding the opposite. Subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. So do you see how now we have an addition problem? So you can write out your pluses and minuses if you need to. But you should know when we have different signs, we find the difference. So 6 minus 5 is 1. Our bigger number is negative, so we keep that sign. We're going to have a negative answer. Here, when we add the opposite, so we're going to change the subtraction to addition, and that 2 is going to become negative. Now, when we look here, again, this is a simple one. You could write down all your negatives, but I want you to think of our rules. If our signs are the same, we're going to combine them. We're going to find the sum, right? So we have 4 plus 2, which is 6, and of course, our answer has to be negative. We can't all of a sudden end up in positive land when we're combining negative numbers, right? All right, I want you to try these next two. Pause your video, give them a go. All right, you should have added the opposite. Signs were the same, so you add them. 6 and 8 is 14, and you should get a negative. You should have added the opposite. Our signs were the same again. 7 and 2 is 9, so you're getting the opposite. All right, here's where it gets a little trickier. I'm going to do this one with you. I want you to do the last one on your own. Negative 9 minus a negative 4. Remember, subtraction is adding the opposite. So when we add the opposite, we have to change this to an addition sign, and the opposite of a negative is positive. So now our signs are different, so we're finding the, you remember? Signs are different, we find the difference. So 9 minus 4, very good, it is 5. Now I have to decide if it's positive or negative. Well, my bigger number is negative. All right, I want you to try this next one. Pause your video and try it. All right, again, subtraction is adding the opposite. So this changes to addition. We have to do the opposite of what the second number is. And that is positive, right? The opposite of negative is positive. So now our signs are different. We find the difference. 11 minus 9 is 2. Now we're looking at two numbers. Our 11 is bigger, right? And that is positive. So our answer is going to stay positive. Okay, guys? So just to recap, remember, integer subtraction. It's important we got addition down first because we have to do integer addition after we change it to adding the opposite. So we're changing our subtraction to an addition sign, and we're switching the sign of the second number. Remember, that first number is staying the same. We're only switching the sign of the second number. So when you see a problem, if it's subtraction, you have to change it to addition and flip the sign of the second number. All right, guys, check out the Google form. Don't forget to do the assignment. in the classwork, and hopefully we're doing awesome on our integers.